Hello, friends, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to today's live level up conversation. Whether you're tuning in live or catching me on replay, I am so grateful to have you here with us. Happy Tuesday, and let's get started.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market update. Speed round. Award-winning financial pro. And now, get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the show. I'm Winnie Sun, your host, award winning financial pro, Forbes contributor, and a CNBC council member. We aim to keep you informed on the latest and, of course, important business news, but we also want to have you join as part of today's discussion. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Please let me know where you're joining us from. We're like streaming on about 8 different social media platforms. So, if you send in comments, we'll surely see them. Thank you so much for your time today. Now, let's start and talk about how the market closed. Unfortunately, not a good day. Not a good day. This is one of those days when we call it a triple down day because all three indices were in the negative and quite a bit negative. The Dow closed down 574 points today. The Nasdaq also down 145 points, and the S&P 500 also down 61 points. Now, the big news and one of the reasons why you see the negative activity in the stock market today is because Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell came up to speak, and he cautioned many of us tuning in, investors most importantly, that interest rates are unfortunately likely to head even higher than previously expected. This is mostly because of the recent economic data that came in and also some inflation activities that we saw in late 2022. He also warned of tighter monetary policy as a way to, of course, to mitigate the slowing of a growing economy, saying that the data does show that unfortunately interest rates need to go higher. And of course, tightening is going to be important so that we can get inflation at a more manageable rate, which translates, of course, to a higher increase in the pace of rate hikes as well. Just when we thought things were going to get a little better, right? It was just a few months ago when we saw rate hikes sort of simmer down a little bit, and even some talk that maybe sooner than later the rate hikes would go even smaller, and maybe we get closer to that healthy 2% inflation rate, but it doesn't look like that's the case. And so you see the stock market take a big tumble today. Treasury yields, of course, did go higher today, but now there's talk about a strong possibility of a 50 basis points or 0.5% increase in interest rates when they meet now at the end of the March, I think March 21st, 22nd, when the Fed's going to meet. And then we'll get a good indication of where interest rates will be going. So for those of you who are looking to purchase a home or looking to get another house or get a car loan or anything like that, not good news, because that means the rates are going higher. Additionally, if you have credit card debt, this is also bad news because that interest rate is probably going to go higher as well. On the flip side, though, if you're keeping money in a savings account or in a money market and you're literally just looking to get a little bit of interest, this actually could be positive because it could mean that your interest is going to go a little higher. So things to keep in mind for those of you tuning in. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. I want to say a quick shout out and welcome. I see CrossX Spider joining us on YouTube Live. Joshua, it's always great to see you. And we thank you so much for joining us on LinkedIn as well. Do jump in, let us know where you're joining us from and how your day is going. Of course, how your weekend is, because today is the first show of this week, of course. Now, on other news, I thought that might be of interest. I know many of our viewers are big travelers, and this is maybe news that didn't hit at your radar, but something to keep in mind. You may have heard that JetBlue, very popular airline, if you've ever ridden it, it's one of my favorite airlines. They give you, great leg room, great snacks, and most importantly, they have really nice planes. Well, JetBlue was in a deal to combine with Spirit, but it looks like this deal isn't going to happen because the U.S. Justice Department is now suing to stop the JetBlue proposal of a $3.8 billion deal to buy Spirit Airlines. Now, Spirit Airlines, you may have been familiar with them. You may have even flown them. They're, I guess, they're kind of a neat niche discount carrier airline. I've had friends that have traveled there. Supposedly, they have some pretty interesting snacks that you can purchase on this airline. Do let me know, actually, if you've flown Spirit Airlines in the past and what your experience has been. But they're saying that this deal to purchase them for $3.8 billion by JetBlue is probably not going to happen because the US Justice Department says that this is going to actually hurt consumers because there needs to be more competition. We need competition to keep airline prices low. So the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, has announced this lawsuit today, and this will actually be the first time in 20 plus years that government has now sought to block a U.S. airline merger. In fact, the Biden administration has argued that there needs to be more competition in the airline industry. That way, the experience can improve, and of course, costs can remain lower for those of you who need to travel and want to fly. It's just a good thing for competition, a good thing for consumers. So JetBlue is saying, no, 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 this is not the case. In fact, they're saying that this deal would actually create a newer, stronger competitor to those other large airlines, maybe like American, United, Delta, and it'll actually help to bring down airline fares, not increase them. So the company is offering actually even to give up some of its valuable real estate in the areas of landing and takeoff slots and even gates at very popular crowded airports to try and hopefully get this deal to take place, and so that they can increase competition. Now, Spirit, as you know, had previously not wanted to be purchased by JetBlue, but now they're all for it. They're hoping the deal goes through as well. So this decision now on the deal will be up to the federal courts now. So they're going to be hearing the case, and the Justice Department, two other federal agencies will that I guess approval will need to take place there for this deal to happen. But right now, looks like the deal is on pause, if not stuck. Right. So, Sadiq, it is great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us on YouTube Live. And of course, yes, a great comment. We see a comment from one of our um, um, friends here on LinkedIn saying that Breeze Airways is pretty good discount carrier too. I think there's several discount carriers, right? Breeze is one I haven't heard from. And welcome, CJ from Walnut Creek. Oh, I love Walnut Creek. It's a beautiful place out there. So I guess Breeze is one, Spirit Airlines. I think Frontier is also a discount airline. There's still some discount airlines, right? But I think one of the complaints about these discount airlines is they just lack airline footprint. So you can't fly everywhere you want to be, and maybe they don't fly that often to the places you need to be. So as much as we don't want our airlines to get bigger, to be competitive, it almost seems like you kind of need to get bigger. So we'll see how this unfolds. Let us know your comments about that. Do you feel like JetBlue should be able to buy Spirit Airlines? Have you flown JetBlue or Spirit? I personally flown JetBlue, and I've always thought it was a great experience. I haven't flown Spirit, but I have had friends fly them, and I've heard mixed reviews on that. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, the next story I want to share with you is one actually I'm pretty excited to share. And this is coming from, I actually saw the article from my friends at CNBC. This is around Best Buy. Now, many of you know Best Buy as the electronics store, right? Maybe the Geek Squad. I don't know about you, but I've sure bought a lot of technology through the years from Best Buy, maybe, from like a dishwasher all the way to like computers, a mouse, and things like that. Well, Best Buy is doing something very interesting. They're partnering. So, Best Buy's Geek Squad in particular is partnering with a healthcare system based out of North Carolina called Atrium Health. And I love this because they're going to start a process and enable what they call hospital at home. So, this is a hospital at home program. Now, for any of you, maybe yourself, maybe you've got hurt yourself. Maybe you have had a loved one, right? Or an elderly family member who's needed medical care, needed 24/7 care, perhaps even, and didn't want to stay at the hospital, didn't want to stay at ICU, right? Wanted to go home, maybe even at, those acute care centers or different types of therapy centers. Well, the Geek Squad wants to go into a patient's home and set up technology so that this will allow the access of remote monitors, monitoring their vitals signs, and training the patient or like caregivers, maybe other family members or caregivers in the home on how to use these devices. So, this data that is collected through this technology will then be shared with their medical team, right? Doctors and nurses through this telemedicine hub from Current Health. So, this new hospital at home program is aimed at reducing the need for hospitalization and, of course, most importantly, lowering healthcare costs. So, this new division, this is their healthcare division, and it's interesting. And if you think this sounds familiar, you're right. I mean, a lot of technology companies are looking at healthcare. We know Apple has been spending a lot of efforts in that. But Best Buy has made a point of saying this is an area they feel that is ripe for disruption. So this hospital at home program, as someone, you many of you know that my dad was in and out of the hospital for a couple years during the pandemic, and I will say, he really wanted to go home over and over again, and being at home, being at the comfort of his own home, and but still be able to take care of him health wise was such an important need. So this to me is very exciting. I'm happy to hear this. I'm hoping you're happy to hear this. And I'd love to see your thoughts on this. What do you think about healthcare at home, a hospital at home, right? Um, Having, like, does it worry you? Of course you won't have full capability of what a full-blown hospital would have, right? Because at a full-blown hospital, the nurses and doctors are literally just down the hall. But um but if you're able to stay at home, have your vitals sent, I'm sure there's a lot of people who would benefit from this sort of program. And it's nice to see technology kind of coming to fruition here. And it's nice to see that Best Buy utilizing your Geek Squad can kind of team up with the medical industry to get. So I'm really rooting for this. I'm really rooting for this. I'm excited to see this. And if those of you hear more about this, please share with me. Share with me on social or send me a message. My direct messages are open on social media, especially on Twitter. I love to hear your thoughts on this. And of course, if you're seeing more things like this in areas that you think are prime for disruption, let me know. And so that way we can share with everyone on the show. And of course, thank you so much, my friends, for watching Level Up today. If you enjoy this video, please give us a like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date with our latest content. And of course, you can catch full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, Roku, and many other platforms. And don't forget to check out Yes Factor, the podcast with Winnie Sun, which I know many people catch on Apple Podcasts, but it's with the LinkedIn Podcast Network. Now, thank you so much, my friends, for your support and your friendship. And of course, I look forward to seeing you again very soon. I think tomorrow we're going to be back with In the Loop with the one and only Greg Nibbler. Take care now. Bye.